Each week we listen to an album, here's a remind. Just know it's gonna take about 3 hours of your time to hear us complain or praise each other's taste. But no matter what, at the end of the day, we're just best friends who love different music. We are earbuds, earbuds, earbuds. This is Earbuds.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Earbuds. If you're watching this on YouTube, first of all, thank you very much. Please like and subscribe and comment down below. Tell us everything you're thinking about. We want to know, we really do. Good or bad, good or bad. And if you don't want to watch it on YouTube, but you think that's your only option, no. Find us on all podcast platforms and follow us there. You can download the audio-only episodes and listen to them on your way to freaking work, baby.
Oh my God! Also, for the next several episodes, you're going to hear the show referred to as Turned Tables. That is not the truth. The show is Earbuds. We decided to change the name after we recorded a couple episodes. So deal with it. It's the same show. We're just calling it something else. Don't be so confused all the time. Comment down below if you think the name Turned Tables is better. There's nothing we're going to do to change it at this point, but just let us know. Enjoy the show.
This is Earbuds.
Welcome, kind listeners, to another episode of Turned Tables. I'm
Hello!
Landon.
I'm Joey.
And this is the show where we bring an album that we love, or maybe just like, to the other person who is our best friend.
Two friends, two separate musical tastes. Of course, we always like to describe it as, well, a Venn diagram after
Yes.
our friend Evangeline.
Yes,
And Landon last week brought one. I brought one this week,
that's right.
and then next week he'll do one.
Yeah.
And maybe next week I'll do one. Maybe I'll say, hey, I don't know, I just want to talk about this one. I don't even know if I like this album. That's not going to happen for a while.
Not for a while. And sometimes we'll do one that we both know and love.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we'll do one that we don't know and love.
Yes.
And that's all part of the show. So this week, Joey brought his, and it is, go ahead and tell us what it is.
This week we're going to be talking about Bad Religion's The Process of Belief, their 12th studio album from the year 2002.
I mean, these guys can't stop making music.
And how did I get here from last week? We talked about Jellyfish, which I will. That's the follow-up. I did listen to Jellyfish's second album, and you're correct in thinking that I hated it. No, that I liked it better than the first album.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit more aggressive.
It's going to rock you a little
It
harder.
rocked me. The harmonizing was through the roof. There's rock operas from here to who knows where. I'm doing my job. I'm dancing around. It reminded me of something else that I'm probably going to bring to the show later.
Whoa.
Because I said, hey, you know what? This reminds me of something that probably won't sound like it's related at all.
Huh.
But to me, it reminded me of it. So I did like that.
That's fun.
So, and I thought there was a Jellyfish song playing at a coffee shop I was at yesterday, and I said, you got to be joking me. It was Billy Joel.
Oh.
So it wasn't.
Well, it related to that.
This
is kind of the chatting part of the show, right?
Yeah.
Just
I want to
let
get
us-
into, we're going to get into how we pick this. Why'd you bring this in here?
Right, okay.
Right? That led me to this one.
Okay.
Because we did the little, hey, this guy played in this band. It's Red Cross with Greg Hetson, who was in Bad Religion. He was in Circle Jerks, Bad Religion. Great. Awesome. Also, lots of harmonizing in this band. They also reference another album, the last album I brought in, kind of. You might have missed it.
These guys.
There's
I
a
thought you meant
reference
Jellyfish. I
to
was like,
no,
I don't think
their
so.
reference to the last band I brought in.
Yes.
And this is just one of the ones I got to get in here. So,
Yeah, that's fine.
there's some other things that we might get into, but this is about this specific album. They have 17 albums at this point, I believe.
I think that's the number I read.
And a couple EPs and stuff. So there's a lot to talk about there. If I return to them, there's a lot I could say.
Yeah.
So this is my pick. What else you want to know?
Where do you come from? Where'd you arrive at? This is my first real. I've
Yeah.
heard some songs, but this is my first real delving into their oeuvre. So this is my introduction, we'll say. So what's your introduction to the boys?
Gosh. Probably before knowing it, probably the Tony Hawk games. They had a couple. Which is off their other album, No Control, which I was going to talk about, but I think this one just covers so much more about what I like about them. While I like the short, fast punk albums, this is just my favorite kind of music. And getting to go back into this and think about these bands and why I like them, it just brings up so much stuff where I go, oh yeah, I forgot about this. And then because they have so many albums, and some of them are not on my regular rotation.
Sure.
And I think they will even cop to that. And when you've got 17 albums, every song's not going to be a winner.
Well, that goes against what some people in the YouTube comments were saying.
That every single one of them is
great
in their own way, but there's a little lull between. So this probably middle school or high school, I think through bands like Green Day or whatever, trying to find more music that I was into.
Yeah.
That was, I feel like at a certain time I was getting a lot of my music from the Christian bookstore, and I couldn't take that anymore.
You said religion.
Yeah, and I said,
bad.
Who's against this? And I said, these guys. But this is everything this just there's a quenching of a thirst with this band. With
musically or all around?
All around.
Sure.
Musically and intellectually.
Yeah.
It touches on tons of stuff that I was like, okay, this is why this music's important. There's a reason why bands keep going back to this band, and they keep getting to put out stuff. I've seen them live 3 times. I know they're working on a new album. They won't slow down, right? I think at the same time I was reading a lot of books relating to this stuff. Christopher Hitchens, Richard Dawkins.
Yeah.
A lot of things in this kind of what would you call that? Thematically.
Sure.
About science and religion and trying to figure things out. And then you hear this side of it, and it's not a nihilist point of view. It's a very positive, and it's like, this is when people think about punk music, and there's this idea that it's maybe rudimentary or simple, kind of like we talked about with Descendants, where they're quick and to the point. And these are like, I mean, some of the lyrics that are just being fit into these spaces and the words being used. Yeah. You're like, this is, to me, that's incredible. That's what I like about this band. And they're not doing it as a way of like, isn't this cool that we're doing this? It's just, this is how they are. Most of the songs are written by, I think all of them are basically written by 2 guys.
Yeah.
By Brett and Greg.
Yeah.
Brett does not tour with them anymore. He hasn't for several years. This was his...
Oh, yeah. He's the Epitaph guy,
He's the Epitaph guy. Okay. So he's busy doing that.
Right.
So he'll write with Greg.
He'll come in.
He had taken 7 years off from the band before this.
The down years, some consider.
Yeah. Those are the ones I'm talking about. So you did
I looked into it.
It's an interesting... There's so much stuff with a band like this to just get into one album.
Yeah.
But this was like he rejoined the band, and it was like, holy shit. Not that there's stuff on those albums that are good too. I think that's just they were also on a major label, and with this one they were like, let's because I think they moved to a major label from Epitaph, and then Epitaph put out huge albums from The Offspring and I think No Effects and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And they were like, whoops, we should have, because they were kind of telling them what to do at that point. Yeah. They made them re-record some songs. I know numerous bands that have gone through that, where a major label signs them and they say, hey, could you re-record one of those hits you had from earlier in your career?
Right.
And we can use that as a single for this album.
Right.
And they were doing stuff like that. And this one just got back to, I think, a lot of those ideas because they work so well together. Obviously, you've got Greg, who is he's got his degree in zoology.
He's a PhD.
I've got his book. Here's one of his books here. Anarchy, Evolution, Faith, Science, and Bad Religion in a World Without God. It's a pretty scary title. But this is an interesting book because it takes his idea of punk music and why it's important, and he talks about evolution. And he talks about how you can kind of learn about evolution through this style of music.
Maybe there is wisdom in this fucked up punk rock song.
Maybe. I don't think so. No. Let's see here.
He's just gonna read the book now.
Yeah.
This
so
is insane.
chapter 1.
This is crazy.
It's about his problem with
I know that he's only read 40 pages of it.
60 according to today. This was a book that I did start reading several years ago, and it just kind of, I read a lot of books at once, and then some of them, like this one is basically a science book.
Yeah.
And he has another book that is essentially his thesis on evolution, which is, so if you read that one, it's more of like a scientific paper, but like a book length.
Yeah.
And then he just put out a new one that's more specifically about him and like his life. So this touches on points of that stuff, but that goes into it more in depth. And then I brought this to, I haven't gotten to dig into it yet, but this is their new biography that came out about the band's history, because there's so much to learn about this
By
band.
them. So it's an autobiography in a way.
By them, with a writer who I believe interviewed them and got their takes, and other guys that were in the band, because there's been some rotating members.
Yeah.
But in this band at this time, you've got, I believe, those two guys. This is also the first album with Brooks Wackerman.
Oh,
who
yeah.
is very appropriately named, as he is Wackerman on those drums. They lost their old guy because his rotator cuff, I think, came out of his body and flew away.
Whoa.
So they got this guy in. They also have Brian Baker in the band, who was in Minor Threat and is in Dag Nasty, two other great bands. He's been in this band. I think of him as a newer member, but he's been in since 1994. So he came so it's been 30 years. He came in to replace Brett when he left the band.
Sure.
And now he records with them and tours with them still, and kind of takes over that part on guitar. But this was sort of a new era for them, I think. I also think at 2002, punk music's kind of coming back. You've got like, when is American Idiot?
Like 3.
3, yeah. So there's like this huge resurgence of all this stuff. And this was sort of the years where I was starting to find out about this stuff.
Sure.
And not be scared to try to listen to a band whose name is Bad Religion and figure out what they're about. Because I was also listening to maybe heavier stuff or more aggressive stuff. And then when you listen to this, it's like, oh, it's like the guy singing, and the name kind of makes you think it's going to be one thing.
Yeah.
And then you have to kind of figure out what that thing is.
Yeah.
And then I went and found out, I was like, oh, they sang all these songs that I do know. I had a lot of like Warped Tour compilations.
Of course.
I think Sorrow was on there. I think Infected was on there. Probably You was on there. Some of their older stuff.
Sure.
So that's where I came into this. But this is a top favorite band of mine.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's where I'm at.
That's good.
It fundamentally changed my ideas about
The
the world and music, and not being scared to question a lot of things and dive deeper into a lot of things.
And that's all Greg and company want.
So what do they want? Do you think a band's going to change the world? No.
They just want you to open your mind. Really, they're not even about anti-religion.
No.
They're anti
authority.
Authority.
That's his big thing. This is his thing.
This is his thing.
They
don't like the Crossbuster.
No,
Well,
they hate it.
It's not that they don't like it. They just think that maybe it doesn't exactly.
Well, they've said, I don't know how much you listen to, but their first album came out when he was 15,
Right.
Which is crazy.
They were just
that
kids.
they're still.
They just wanted to piss people off.
Yeah, and he's like, we thought of names, and some of them were just like gross. Mm-hmm. But this was like, this is what I wanted to sing about, and this made the most sense.
Yeah.
And we wanted a logo that would look cool on stickers and stuff. And it does. I got the shirt on right now.
Oh, it looks pretty cool.
I got to wear it to the store and get nervous. But it's just weird that they're like 60. I like these bands that have been touring for whatever, 40 years at this point.
Yeah, I watched some live videos. He's got the little
String on his glasses.
Yeah. He's still sounding good though.
He sounds great. He's got one of the most, I think, iconic voices. Speaking of Milo from the last thing I brought in from Descendants, his voice is not that, but it's just good. It's just I like the way he sings.
Greg or Milo?
Greg.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm saying both of them. I'm saying he doesn't have that distinct thing, that punk voice.
Yes. No, he sounds more like...
He just sounds like a guy.
Yeah. I listened to one of his Millport.
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, I think he should be singing this type of music instead of punk."
Yeah. I think he should do both.
Well, I mean, obviously he does.
Which
can.
He wrote Millport with Brett too.
It just seemed like, oh yeah, I think maybe he's more of a country singer.
Well, there's some versions of Sorrow.
Yeah.
I have a CD that they put out, and one of the deluxe songs was like that acoustic. And it's like, oh, this is like a folk song. Yeah. I mean, you can tell with the way it is here, but there's very specific songs where it's like, oh, this works great acoustic. I think it's because of the way they write them and what he listens to. If you watch his Amoeba Records video,
and I did,
every pick, I mean, people in the comments can't believe like, he didn't pick whatever, like, I don't know,
Ramones.
Yeah,
he didn't pick The Clash.
He picks what he likes, which is like country music and like old gospel stuff.
Well, and how uninteresting would it be for a punk guy to just pick other punk music?
Right. That's like, we've played with them, and we played with them. We inspired them.
Of course you like that.
Yeah, we know that, but like, what also interests you? That's why I love those videos, just off topic.
Yeah.
But
but especially a guy like this whose whole mission statement is basically to expand your goddamn mind a little bit, huh?
Their second album, we'll talk on this quick and we can get into the album, which I brought up to you, was a prog rock album.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go take a look at that.
They put out their first album. They do a prog rock album, which everyone hates. And even he has said, like, that was the most punk thing we could think to do.
Yeah.
That's what we liked. It wasn't the mainstream. We wanted to do this album with keyboards. He's like 3 or 4 of the guys left the band. They said, we're not doing this with you. And they didn't really like it. Yeah. They came back together and they put together this band. And it's got some interesting stuff on it. I don't know, found some like version of it online like 15 years ago to put on my iPod. And they've played some songs maybe a couple times live, like during anniversary shows. But then they came back and put out Suffer, which is one of, I think, cited by tons of people as like, that's their best album. I agree and disagree. I love this album.
Yeah.
Suffer's great. They just came back and said, okay, we'll do this. But they have different influences. And obviously he's written 2 books on just like evolution and arguing against like the idea of natural selection or what it means to be atheist or theist. Like there's just lots of philosophical things with they're just smart guys, which is why when you look at him, like you look at him performing, it's just, I think that's part of why the band's so interesting.
He looks like a professor.
He goes against everything that you would expect.
Yeah.
And it's awesome.
Guys, thanks for listening.
We hope you listen next week. Landon's going to be talking about jellyfish again. Should we get into this?
Let's get into it. God. Let's play some of this rip-roaring, hanky-panky style music you kids are listening to these days.
This song is called
Supersonic.
Well, I'm not making hate, so could it be haste is making me? What's time of the thing to kill or keep a fire or lose or living? I gotta go faster, keep up the pace, just to stay in the human race. I could go supersonic, the problem's chronic. Tell me, does life exist beyond it? When I need to sate, I just accelerate into oblivion. Into oblivion.
So far, what do you think?
When he says Into Oblivion,
Mm-hmm.
that last time he said it there, it made me think of
When he says Oblivion,
no, before that. Play it again quick,
yeah, sorry.
and then I'll pull up something.
I could go supersonic, the problem's chronic. Tell me, does life exist beyond it? When I need to sate, I just accelerate into oblivion.
Yeah, it made me think of.
Apparently, I didn't give Landon enough time to look something up.
Well, I forgot that I wanted to do this to make you mad. Just give me 10 seconds.
Do you want me to play it again?
Sure.
Just so people can hear it?
Sure.
Just to keep it fresh in their mind. Hold on.
Yeah, please.
No. Sorry. Okay.
I see me everywhere. Angels' voices in my ear. Just tighten those shoulders. Just clench your jaw till you frown. Just don't
We're getting there. Hold on.
you may drown. You're living in America at the end of the millennium. You're living.
It reminded me of that. Just a little bit, guys. No, don't be mad at me.
Well, tell them what it is.
It's from Rent, the classic.
So Millennium reminds you of...
Living in America. But otherwise,
Life exists beyond it. When I need to sate, I just accelerate into oblivion. Into oblivion.
But then I like that.
I like it. I even like that. I like Oblivion. I like Rent.
Yeah, you do. You won't stop talking about it. What are you doing?
Anyway,
Was that Alfred Hitchcock?
I'm going to scare you later.
Good evening.
Okay, so that was my first thought when I first listened to it, and then, but no, I love all of this leading up to that. I love that. I love that. Don't get me wrong here. I thought of the thing that would make you the most mad would be for me to compare it to a song from Rent. So, no, I mean
that much maligned musical. Think about that.
much maligned musical.
Is this what you thought it was going to be? I mean, you'd kind of
I knew
about them, right?
Yeah, I knew that they were little punks, and they're just not. They're not happy with the way things are, man. And in this song, you can't keep up the pace to stay in the human race.
This is
I like all this.
This is like a classic punk song intro song. I would say from their first album even to their latest one that came out about 3 or 4 years ago, is they still start this fast. It's just like, here's a, whatever, minute and a half ripper.
That's what, they're going to, right from the rip, they're going to blast you in the face.
I think they're also showing off, guess who's back? Brett's back. Guess what? We got a new drummer. I think at this point they're like 40. And Brooks is 24.
Yeah.
So he's their new young stud.
One of the live videos, I don't know if it was him, but it did seem like there was a very young man on drums and everyone else is.
It's probably him.
It probably is. But then the next live video I watched, it was a different guy. So I was like, maybe they just don't have a drummer anymore.
He left in 2021 to join Avenged Sevenfold, which I don't know how that happens. And someone asked Greg about that, and he was like, he's like, yeah, we wish him the best, but it was clearly like, I think they were also confused by that.
I didn't even know they were still around.
No, they just put out a new album, and
well,
it's just a weird, like,
good for him.
I don't know. I guess he's closer to their age, and it's just a completely different type of music.
Yeah.
And maybe he's like, I want to go do that.
Yeah,
whatever.
That's fine. No, it's great. Great drums, great sound. I'm digging it.
Okay.
I hear this song, I say, all right, Joey picked another ripper, and I'm happy about it.
Yep. Do we go to the next one?
If you're good,
I mean, this one's It hits on some points. I don't know about lyrically if there's anything that needs to be.
They get into denser stuff later
Yeah.
on that you can wax philosophical about all you want.
Yes, and we've got to do that. This show is kind of philosophical, but also funny.
Yeah, it's kind of like we should prove it.
Oh, and can you say that again?
It's almost like we should prove it.
Is this the same song?
We'll get to it. Boom, 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 boom.
Looking back, I'm off tracks more times than I recognize. Mistakes are another opportunity to refine. My heart is not a cold cauldron of proof. I don't ever need to prove myself to you. There's no such thing as hell.
Echo.
You can make it if you try. There might come a day.
We're gonna listen to the whole song at this point. It's almost over.
Well, we needed to get to that part.
Yeah. So I love this song. Just everything in there. That hit the road and wander mode, inquire along the way. You know, looking back, I'm off the track more time than I recognize. Mistakes are another opportunity to refine. Good stuff. There's no such thing as hell, but you can make it if you try.
Yeah.
There might come a day when emotion can be quantified. This is where you're going, oh, he's a little nerd.
Quantified. Seems like a scientist.
In the last song, he said sate, and I was mad. Now he's making me even more mad.
First he says savoir faire, and then he says this other word. No. Yeah, this is good. Yeah, I like it. There's no such thing as hell, but you can make it if you try. Yeah, I like that. God, that's just cool to think about.
Yeah.
No, it is. It reminds me of that Bo Burnham song.
There's another thing on here that reminds me of a Bo Burnham song, almost to the letter.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Yeah, we'll play it.
Same thing.
We'll play it.
Yeah, of course. But from God's perspective, the song that he sings from God's perspective.
But this is what I'm talking about, in that they're not being nihilistic, where you think of punk as being negative, where they are criticizing things. But when you're talking about hit the road and wander mode, inquire along the way, like it's about getting out there and learning. And then there's no such thing as hell, but you can make it if you try. He's saying this thing does not exist. And I know that's going to ruffle the feathers of one of our listeners, Mr. Pope.
I'm sorry to Mr.
We're
Pope.
sorry. We know you're going to do the smoke thing later today. And do not make
please.
If we know if you do like an orange and blue smoke, it's because of Landon's shirt. So don't do that. Mm-hmm. Don't do it as a little wink to us, Mr. Pope. But you can make it if you try. That's what I mean. Is like people can bring this on themselves.
It's a humanist perspective.
Yes. And this is maybe a humanist band.
That's what I think. It's giving humanist. It's giving humanist, which is very interesting. I think we'll open up a broader conversation when we get into something that we talk about potentially next week. It's all very interesting from here, Joey.
This album?
This podcast.
Okay. You were talking about next week, the album you pick.
Yeah, we've
still got 17 songs to get.
No,
to.
I just mean I'm just excited to get into some weeds with you.
Yeah,
the show weeds.
Well, which is coming back.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Did you read that?
No,
they're rebooting it.
Oh.
They're rebooting Weeds, and I think it's probably because Kevin Nealon posted a photo 2 weeks ago, and he said, "Missed my Weeds family," and so Showtime or whatever was like, you know what, he's right.
Yeah.
We need to get all these people back together.
Insane.
There's some other show, and I was like, whatever. Well, this is not the show for that.
No.
Let's get into this, because we're going to get into some weeds with this album.
Absolutely.
This song's called Can't Stop It.
Oh, we're moving on. Okay.
Are you done with that song?
Yep.
I think we've got stuff to talk about.
Yeah. Here's what I'll say. Over the next 5 or 6 tracks, I start to tune out a little bit.
Okay.
And I think...
Is it because of... Well, tell me.
Things start sounding a little similar. Ideas start sounding a little similar. I start getting a little... I get
Fatigued?
it. A little just like... I get it. I'm with you, Greg, guys. I'm with you. This is cool. I agree. And then the next one's like that again. And they're like... Yes, I know.
Yeah.
I'm with you. And then the next one, you're like, okay, guys, yes, I'm with you. Musically, thematically, spiritually.
What are you looking for? Some dynamics?
I don't even know. There reaches a point in the album where things turn from, this is good, to, all right, here we go.
Okay.
And when we get to that, I'll let you know.
But what you're saying, I think, is also maybe could be a criticism of a lot of punk albums.
Yeah.
Which is from start to finish, it's kind of like, this is our sound.
Yeah, I don't think it's their fault. You know, or even a problem of this album. It's just a problem of music.
But here's what I like, and I'm not going to I don't care if you got criticisms of stuff I bring.
Hey,
here.
man.
Just because they changed my life doesn't really matter.
I'm too old to have my life change.
Yeah, you've set in your ways. You and the Pope are gonna do the smoke.
Yeah,
Popes, smoking popes,
smoking popes.
That's what you're bringing in.
I'm gonna type that into the AI and get a funny image.
This is what I like about this band, though. This album. Did you listen to Millport?
I listened to Millport. I said,
because you love The Simpsons, right?
Yeah.
That's Bart's friend.
Yeah.
Did you listen to any of their other albums?
No.
Okay.
As per the rule,
yes,
we've established. But I said, I can listen to Millport. This is completely different.
Yeah. But that's what with this album, it's like, this is the sound of this album. Mm-hmm. They've been a band from 1981
of course
to now.
Of course. And I look forward to getting into some
similarities.
Sure.
But then you get those like, oh, this was a whole thing for, like, this album is a specific era, so specific sound.
See,
I just feel like this was like back to like, we've got this energy. They did like No Substance, The New America, and a lot of those songs were like,
that's what I read.
I don't know,
this
man.
was, yeah, they were doing some less fast, less energetic. It seemed like they didn't maybe have as much of a direction. But
I like those, like Generators, like rock, alt rock, or Stranger Than Fiction was their first Atlantic record, which was cool in its own way. It's a little slower.
I'll be honest. I'm excited to look at these other albums because I think I might like them better.
Maybe.
Just because I like punk. I like the sensibilities. It sometimes ends up boring me. And I think I get a little bit bored over the next couple tracks. Now, when we play them and I'll remember that I like them, I'll say, well, actually, what am I saying? Nothing.
Did we talk about Green Day? Yeah, Dookie.
Yeah.
When I said Insomniac is my favorite album. Right. Even that, to me, when I think about it in my head,
yeah,
it sounds like one song throughout.
Yeah.
But
that's the thing. Then you listen to it, you're like, well.
But the problem is,
I love this song.
Not a problem for me though. Oh. Is that I love the sound. I love how they produce. I love this type of music.
Yeah.
I love what he's saying. So for me, I'm Xavier Fair.
Yeah, and I will look up what that means.
The song's called Can't Stop It.
Okay.
Let's get it right.
Can't stop, can't stop it, can't stop shocking, but I just can't stop it. That's right.
Okay.
Yep.
That's that song.
Yeah, this one, for me, is lesser on the album.
Mm-hmm.
It's not bad. I'm not saying it's bad.
You can.
Do not crucify me.
Well, this band certainly won it.
No.
They'd actually tell you that most people in that day and age were crucified. It actually wasn't that special what happened.
So
there's actually worse ways to die.
So I would say
You ever seen Hostel? Well, for me, this is a punk song. What if I just stopped there and left?
Yeah.
The what I like about them, and even up to, I think you'll even like their newer albums. If you like kind of Millport stuff,
I like Millport.
I'd say Descent of
I like
Man.
this better than Millport. Let me just put that out there.
Okay, good.
Yeah, Millport.
You're not completely out of your mind.
I'm not going
it's
to.
It's its own thing.
I'll probably never listen to it again. But I liked it. I'm not. But it sounded like, oh yeah, I can see him singing this stuff.
There are things like that I'll listen to. I think purely out of my interest and respect for a person.
Sure.
Something like City and Color.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not something I would listen to without my history of that guy from his other band. There are things like that where, like this book, I don't know, even though I've read a lot of stuff like this, it's interesting to me as a fan of someone's music to go, okay, well, he's also a professor and he's weaving in stories from his life, and saying this is also how, punk worked in the 80s when we were becoming a band. And it's about all these bands that I like.
Right.
So something like that. But then I also that's why I give them leeway in their newer albums. There are some things that kind of sound a little like country or folky. Yeah. There's a lot of, hey, if you don't like Donald Trump, you're going to love their last album.
Whoa, I'm going to hate it then.
I know.
No, I'm kidding. One of the videos from Millport, I can't remember, Lincoln's.
Which is the one he did not write.
Right. Yes, that was a cover. But just the amount of people like, I can't believe, because the video is like comparing Trump to like civil rights stuff and like, all that. And it's just the amount of people that don't understand the music they've been listening to for 30 years.
Right. It's like, this is what they do. Isn't that was like the big thing with Rage Against the Machine? Yeah. When they came out and were like, we hate Trump. Yeah. And people were like, screw you. It's like, what is your brain?
That's what I don't get.
That's their whole thing.
And
that's why they're a band. Like what?
Which is also interesting for something else that we'll get into in the future.
Okay.
Just how people's perceptions of bands devoid of any context, or like I just don't understand how you can so uncritically think about anything in your life.
It is confusing when you go to, especially stuff like this, where like punk music, where I feel like some people are there for the energy of something, and just out of like they have no clue of what's being talked about.
But it's the basis of punk ideology. Right. But people were saying Trump is punk because he's not Hillary Clinton.
Just stupid.
I'll absolutely.
I mean, I'll give you that.
He's not. He was literally. He was not Hillary Clinton,
and he is a little punk.
He's a bitch. All right, go on.
Okay,
do you care about this song? I mean, do you have anything else to say about it?
I have nothing to say about it. It's fine. It's a minute long.
Would you agree that it's probably a lesser song on the album?
Yeah, if you had to rank them, yes,
yeah, okay.
Yes, I'd agree with you.
All right, go ahead.
Then let's go on to. There's also like doing that thing with his voice.
Yeah.
Where it's like he's
using a megaphone.
And he's like walking around on stage with his megaphone. You're like, this is the megaphone song.
Yeah.
But there's just not much of a message here. For someone what I'm saying is I love their music for their message. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can listen to fast music.
Yeah.
I do it in my sleep.
Yeah. But I agree. I think that's what elevates their stuff over other stuff that I've heard, is that there's, just
the song's called Broken. Phaser.
She said, thanks, but I'm broken. I guess you must have misspoken. What a laugh, I've never been chosen by
This is when I've said I perk up a little bit.
Yeah.
Give me a little flavor. Give me a little something else.
And it's a story.
Yeah.
You like your little stories.
I don't like this song though. I'm kidding. No, this was a good one.
Where's the...
He was a troubled
Back to the little acoustic thing, right?
I like it. I like when a chorus is different every time.
Yeah.
That's just fun. See, we can agree.
I love that. I love when a chorus knows what it said before and it goes, but what if it was a little different?
What if I change a couple words, make it a little different, make it more of a, well, start.
I also like this part down here. This little bridge part. Cool.
I like that.
There's some good stuff in here.
Yeah, that's the big line that stuck out to me. You could never resist glorifying despair. Now it's coming to you, and I don't really care.
Mm-hmm. You were like, whoa.
I was like, God, that applies to
like
so
that.
many people that I think about in my life.
But then there's also this part where he says,
Please listen to me. There is no such thing as human debris.
that's kind of nice. I know I'm not broken. It's a full story.
Yeah.
Asshole.
He figured it all out by the end.
A little cracked, but that amounts to nothing. I want to laugh. I'm not joking.
Yeah. I want to laugh, but I'm not joking.
I'm not. I
I mean,
want
he
to
doesn't
laugh.
say but.
I want to laugh. I'm not joking.
I want to. It's like, all right.
People are unsubscribing.
Put on.
We know.
I want to laugh. I'm not joking.
I'm unbroken. What do you think so far, though, about these, what as they call them in their liner notes, the oohs and ahs? OOZI.
Oh, I like all that.
All of the little surf punk.
You know I love that.
Yeah, that's why I said, thank God I picked this after the Jellyfish Heads. But that's that era of like, they're California. You've got all those guys are on it, and they still do it. And it's like, you don't hear that much anymore.
Yeah, it's definitely, it feels of this time too, of like, because then you listen to like Green Day, like we've talked about, they're doing that around this time before. Well, I guess maybe before, but not definitely after.
A little,
Like,
because this was like, what?
I guess
Warning would have come out.
Yeah, and I can't really think of any on Warning where they're doing this much anyway.
But there's like the acoustic. There's
yeah, they're all
they're not doing the harmonies as much, but they were before too.
yeah. I just
talked
mean,
about on Dookie.
yes. But I feel like American Idiot, and then in 21st Century Breakdown, you get a lot of this. Like it feels more. God, I don't even know how to describe it. Maybe rock opera ish.
Yeah, I'd say it's cool.
Yeah, well, it's definitely cool, and I would like to.
It's just the thing that I like in music, and I say this is what I want to listen to.
And again, these are the things that elevate, because you think about like, why this band for 30 plus years, the most sellingest, yeah, that's how you say that, the most sellingest punk band. I'm pretty sure I read the highest selling punk band
Is that
as far as units.
is that because they have 17 albums?
Probably. But I'm just saying,
Is that true? Because they put out the Offspring album that sold 6 million copies. Epitaph did, and at that time that was insane.
I don't know. That's just what their wiki says.
Then I mean, it's probably right. They've got a lot of albums, and
I think probably that.
When I think they moved to Atlantic and Stranger Than Fiction came out, that was a pretty big one for them.
Well, yeah, I just think in total, I'm not saying one album is the highest selling. I'm saying overall, historically, they're the highest selling. That's what I read on their wiki, okay? That's not my point. My point is, how do you last? What gives you the longevity of a band? And it's stuff like this. It's the little intricacies. It's the message, sure. The instrumentation, sure. But it's this need, this desire to do something different, to push what you can do, what you've done before. And all of these bands that we've listened to so far have done that. And that's what except for Jellyfish, who stopped after 2 albums. All these bands have been around for decades and influenced everyone else. It's just interesting, to think about.
I think there's like you said, there's a niche. They came at the right time too.
Sure.
They saw what was happening at this time in Los Angeles. Were into that. And I think they understand also some of it is up to luck of being born at the right time. If a band tried to do that now, that's the thing. It's like they're already doing that. How are you going to talk about this subject matter different or better than a guy who literally has taught, he's a professor for 30 years teaching.
He wrote the book on it.
God, several of them. He wrote the book on it more than once. But that is, and that's
no, and it's almost like,
But they also have said, a lot of people know they played Tony Hawk, and they thought we were cool, and they still come see us. So there's all these factions happening. But for me, and I think for a lot of people that listen to them and care about what are you listening to, and what are they saying? Because you can listen to a band and then you read the lyrics, and it's like, oh,
nothing.
I think there's nothing here, or these people might be dicks. Like I don't agree with their viewpoint.
Yeah. And
therefore, you can not agree with stuff and still listen to it, but sometimes this makes me not like it as much.
Yeah.
But they're saying something that for me, specifically when I got into them, I was looking for. And I didn't even know this exists. I was like, oh, this band, no wonder everyone likes them.
Right.
I see now why. They're incredibly smart. And the songs are good. It's not just good lyrics and whatever. It's like, right. I don't know how they do it.
Next.
This song's called Destined for Nothing.
Yeah, hey! Whoa, 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 whoa.
Don't throw your rotator cuff.
Ow!
Who do you believe can put some meaning in your life?
Meaning in your life. Meaning in your life.
Who do you conceive to provide you guidance and light?
Guidance and light. Guidance and light.
Are they waiting
For you in the by and by. Turn me up. No, turn me down.
to die? Headed for eternity and destined for nothing. The future isn't difficult to see. To confuse grand design with life's repercussion. Blame it not your vanquished fantasy. It's only destiny.
Cool.
Yep, I like that.
One of my favorites on the album for me.
Lament not your vanquished fantasy.
That's cool. It's easy to confuse grand design with life's repercussions. Lament not your vanquished fantasy. It's only destiny. They're also kind of being a little cheeky bastards a lot of the time.
Lament.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't he says lament.
Well, he's got to fit it into the song.
That's the thing.
You don't like that he couldn't fit it in there?
I get a little.
And he's also from Wisconsin. That could be how they say stuff. Oh, yeah,
that's true. Racine.
Yep. Racine. I'm like, that's not how you say it. I know you're from there.
Well, we actually call it Rat City.
Yeah. That's how you know. He also loves custard. I know a lot about this guy.
No, but I'm only kind of joking. Because sometimes I do. It's like, well, it doesn't fit. You need to think of something else.
I listened to him. I've listened to him give some interviews where he says like he's talking about something being traumatic, and he says traumatic every time. He's like, it's a traumatic situation. And I'm like, he just says things kind of different.
He kind of hits different.
Lament. Sorry, let me.
Lament not your vanquished fantasy.
Lament.
I don't know. It just.
You want him to say lament?
Well, just come up with something else if it doesn't fit.
Well, some of the lyrics don't even fit.
Yeah.
Because it's like they're saying part of it
Yeah.
while he's starting to say a different part of it.
Yeah.
I think that's cool.
That's fine.
Lament not your vanquish fantasy, it's only destiny. Why do you consent to live in ignorance and fear?
Ignorance and fear, ignorance and fear. Ancient peoples come to it. Can it happen here? Can it happen here? Can it happen here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're getting into some stuff.
This is about God. This is about grand design, of course. This is about, well, if you read his book, if you ever get a chance to, as I have, I reread the 40 pages, now I'm up to 60. It's like when you read, have you ever read Brief History on Time by Mr. Stephen Hawking?
No.
I'll read a lot of it, and then I'm like, I got to reread that. And then I'll just restart and go over all of it again. Because it's like, here's an overview of it, but you're still talking about like the mathematics of a black hole.
Yeah.
And no matter how much you dumb it down for me, I didn't go to all these classes. Like, I still don't get some of it.
Yeah.
I still can't visualize it. And I've read that book numbers of times, or I've gone back and read specific chapters of it because I'm interested in it. But I'm like, it's just like this. There's so much about genealogy and all this crap that he just makes up. What do you think about this song?
The one we just heard?
Yep.
I like it. I like it a lot.
I like that because I like how he articulates his point too.
Sure.
We talked about this sort of with Descendants on the opposite end of like, I get it. They don't like America. And there's some stuff in there about, and I said, you know what? No, I do like that song on my drive home. But what does he say in there?
I'm the one that said it. You
gotta.
They'll still let you in the band.
I'm proud and ashamed every 4th of July.
Yeah.
Stuff like that is cool.
Mm-hmm.
But there's this idea of like, these songs are pretty simple. These are I think complex ideas that are being put out there, but he's also not, I don't think they're forcing it on you as this is how you should think.
No.
I think he's saying this is what I think.
No.
And you're an idiot for not thinking this.
Which I think, I mean, yeah.
Because he's asking questions.
Yeah.
And I think because he was not raised religious, he doesn't have a certain, I think there's people that were raised religious and are not anymore. They have a different view on stuff.
Sure.
They have an understanding of why people feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I think if you weren't raised that way,
right,
you're like, why do people think this?
Yeah.
How can people fall for this?
Yeah. I mean, if you just,
Fall for the truth, of course.
Of course. But if you just look at this, even without any affectation of how he's singing it or anything like that, it reads like an intellectual interview or something almost. You know, like it's not even. Yeah, that's why I like it. And then reading about how it does seem like he kind of is, like he likes Bad Religion, the name, and he likes the symbology of it. But it seemed like in the interview that I read, or the snippet of an interview from something, I don't know what it was. You probably will tell me, but that it seemed like he's a little bit like not regretful, but just kind of like it would be cool to have more people, because it immediately puts people that need to hear the message off. Mm-hmm. And it could open up more minds to what the type of humanist sort of naturalist agenda that he wants to share by talking. Like, the first thing you think of is, oh, well, you think I'm an idiot.
Yeah. Which is, like you talked about with their logo.
Yeah.
Which is a cross with a big no-no sign over it.
the Ghostbuster.
The Ghostbuster. And like, I have a shirt that had that on it when I was younger, and still do. But when my parents saw me wear that,
right,
that is automatically oh, you're against this thing. Instead of listening to, actually, this guy's pretty smart, And I do agree with a lot, like,
And I am against it.
and I am against it,
but it's not for the reasons you think.
He said, like, at that time, yeah, we are looking for something that
Right.
is I don't know, subversive and is against authority. Their whole thing still, even with that, he always talks about, even now, is like being anti-authority of anything.
Yeah.
Even this book, let me go to the chapter I'm on right now. The False Idol of Natural Selection. It's his take on evolution and how it's become this idea of natural selection. And he said, every time there's an authority on something,
It should be questioned.
I have to question it.
Yeah.
And so I've done studies, and here are my studies and findings, and here are what other people have said against this thing, even things that he agrees with.
Mhm.
It's like, why is it the way it is?
Right.
Which is what I like. You see that if there's a lot of people that don't seem to think about anything, like,
Right.
why is this thing this way?
Yeah.
Why do we all agree on this thing and there's no evidence for this?
Mhm.
Or why are certain things the way they are? Just literally anything in the world.
Sure.
Not even related to religion.
Right.
And there's someone like this playing music that I like, and they're saying that, and just in simple, it just makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes. Okay. You good with that one? You want to move on?
Sure. Materialist.
Now, before you play it,
Mhm.
he commits the same sin, and I am saying that on purpose, of squeezing something in that shouldn't be squoze.
I thought you were going to say this is kind of like, what's that song off of Cool Be You? No, we'll get to it.
Okay.
What's that song called?
I like this. They're like, excuse me, let me go get my thesaurus. My own shoes.
Materialist with you. So
I'm a material. How's he's not even saying it. I'm a materialist.
I'm materialist.
I'm materialist. And I know. That's not what it's about. But some stuff just rubs you the wrong way.
What about this part, though? What do you think about that?
I like that.
There's a lot of shit going in there.
Yeah, that's what I said. I needed my...
I'm just like, first of all, how do you know some of these words?
Sir, show me your work.
And to make such a crazy state, I don't know, just like to fit it all in there.
Yeah.
You're upset and distressed because you can't make any sense of the ludicrous nonsense and incipient senescence that'll deem your common sense useless. This ain't no recess.
It is a funny little punchline almost. Like, let me put it in terms you can understand.
Listen, idiot.
This ain't no recess.
This isn't some little song you just listen. We're not just having fun here.
No.
I'm asking you a question. This is my favorite part of the song.
Process of belief is an elixir when you're weak. I must confess at times I indulge it on the sneak, but generally my outlook's not so bleak. I'm materialist, call me a humanist. I guess I'm full of doubt, so I'm finally having out with you.
I just had to get to that.
Yep.
But
I mean, it's all honestly like Rome under Nero.
I must admit, I must confess at times I indulge it on the sneak. That's a little fun line. But generally my outlook's not so bleak. That's also funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm having fun with this song.
This one's fun. I like this song. This is when the album starts to turn for me.
This was, I think,
into something I like.
One that I've grown to like more, because when I first would listen to it and not really, I'd pick up the lyrics, but I wasn't like diving in deep. And he's like, "You're obsessed and disruptions can't make any sense of all this," and I was like, all right. And then it's like, what's a materialist? Mm-hmm. What's a naturalist? What's a, Humanist. What do you mean by a deist? So, like Rome under Nero or Future's One Big Zero, recycling the past to meet immediate needs. Oh, this is the other thing. What about, how do you like when he says immediate? Hold on.
Cycling the past to meet immediate needs. And through it all,
I'm fine with that.
You're fine with that? He's got to stretch it?
Immediate needs. Well, what's funny about that is he doesn't.
To meet immediate needs.
He probably didn't need to.
Yeah.
I'm fine. If you stretch out a word, I'm okay.
Yeah.
If you try to squeeze it in there and it doesn't fit.
I think we're going to run into that a couple more times on this album. I think.
Oh, yeah, I think so. But no, I like this song. It is funny, like Rome under Nero, our future's one big zero. Mm. There's so many great lines, and then there's stuff like that where you're like, Are you laughing at me because I'm an idiot? So that's the only one I could pick out. Or are you just like, they obviously every line can't be intellectual. Mm-hmm. And it still is. So now I have to go look up Rome and Nero.
And it's like, okay, so was he a bad ruler?
And then I'm like, okay, so our future is one big zero. But it's just like it's. But I think that, as you point out in the first one, in the first stanza, he's setting up the dichotomy of. But see, this is where I'm like, without knowing his philosophy, I'm listening to this being talked down to.
Yep.
If I'm a person that is on the receiving end of this lecture.
Well, that's going to be any sort of intellectual. But I think also this is, I mean, like you're saying, this without knowing any of this, but this is also, they're coming from a position of when people could still, I think, in a way that can't be done now, is have discussions about stuff. Like you watch these kind of creationists versus, I don't know, like some scientists, whatever their field is, whether they know what they're talking about or not. It's like scientists versus creationists go head to head. And now it's just like, you're an idiot. You're being an idiot. And the guy's like, God will smite you. Like there's literally nothing either of them are saying, when there used to be, I think people are open to discussing these things. Yeah. Now it's just like, I don't want to listen to this. Yeah. Like you're wrong. Right. That's it. And this can kind of come off as, like you're saying, maybe if you don't know that he's coming from a point of like educating or like, this is our worldview, it can be a little condescending, maybe. But then it's kind of self-reflexive or introspective. The process of belief is an elixir when you're weak. I must confess at times I indulge it on the sneak. You're like, oh, okay. So you're kind of admitting to like, you think that this viewpoint is from a weaker perspective. Yeah. But you, as a human, you can't help but indulge yourself in this when you feel like you're not capable on your own. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, okay, so I can see, we're on common ground now. And then he's like, but generally. But it's funny. It is funny that he says, but generally my outlook's not so bleak. Like I'm not ever so despairing that I have to think of there's something supernatural. Right. Which is funny. And not only that, being an asshole. I'm not meek. Yeah. As your little chipmunk friends say in the background, I'm not meek. But no, I mean, also, you want a punk band to be a little mad. You want them to be mean a little bit. This is if I'm listening to a song by a Christian artist and they're telling me their point of view. Yes, this is it can also come off as, of course, condescending. It's preachy. There's a phrase for it. Preachy. Oh. Yeah, of course.
of course. And this is the sort of conversation that music allows.
Mm-hmm. And they're allowed to. That's how they feel.
Yes, of course. I just, that's the discussion we're having. I'm not saying it's bad or good. I am saying it's good.
I like smart political punk music or religious.
That's where I was. This is what I wanted with Descendants, whatever that song was called. It's a good, fun little...
America?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a good, fun little punk song, but you're... Just sit over and do your thing and let these guys take care of it. You know?
I hope they listen to this. Come and beat your ass.
In class. That nerd.
In class.
I know. No, if you're going to say something, make sure you say it.
Yeah. Okay.
You know?
Should we move on?
Yeah.
You got in on this one? He's a materialist.
I'm a materialist.
He's a naturalist.
And a humanist.
Yeah. I'm a humanist. He ain't no deist.
He ain't no deist.
And that's different than theist. Okay? So deist is when you believe there's something, a God, but he just started stuff. And he's not down here meddling. He's not answering prayers. As we all know, prayer works.
All right.
Kyoto Now.
So materialist, I'm saying, okay. Because I like the chorus of that is a rip-roaring good time also. Just musically. It's catchy. It's stuck in my head. And we go to Kyoto Now.
It's a matter of passions. No, not the science fiction kind.
Okay.
It's all about ignorance and greed and miracles for the blind. The media parading disjointed politics, founded on petrochemical plunder, and we're its hostages. If you stand to reason, you're in the game. The rules may be elusive, but our pieces are the same. And you know if one goes down, we all go down as well. The balance is precarious, as anyone can tell. This world's going to hell.
Here it comes.
Don't allow
Yes!
logical monster to exact its price. Kyoto Now.
Turn it up.
Yes!
Nothing, I think someone else will make it right. You might not think it matters
Do
now,
that.
but what if you're wrong? You might
All
not
right.
think there's any
Hold on, we gotta get this
Oh.
part.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was just talking over it. You've heard it.
Talk over the whole thing.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you my thoughts on this song.
You don't like this one.
No.
Oh, no.
No. It's worse. It's one of my favorite songs of all time.
Yes!
This was my ringtone for 5 years.
Wow.
Which is a little known fact about me, dear and constant listener, because my phone is about 100% of the time on vibrate.
Right.
But if you were to take it off, it was Kyoto Now. It might still be, but at least for 5 years, that's what it was. I love this. It's one of my favorite songs, period.
Great song.
This is what I want. This is like about climate change, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
This is when you think music, it's so good. I'm like, music can change stuff. And then I'm like, no, actually things have gotten quite worse in the last 20 years.
No,
Like
they did nothing.
which he has said. I was listening to an interview with him where they're like, do you think punk or like music in general can change the world? And he was like, all right, let's dissect how you're asking this. He's like, what you're asking, he's like, I don't think an album is going to change. He's like, I think it can, change someone's viewpoint or give them a way to reflect and then maybe lead them to do something, and you hope it reaches enough people. But he's like, I don't think which is kind of the depressing stuff with this music. When you listen to this, it's like people have these ideas, and like you said, because of their name or someone else's name, like a band like Anti-Flag, which automatically another name that might turn people off. you go, they're preaching to the choir at some point, right? Like we all at this whatever concert probably agree.
Right.
We need to have the Kyoto, whatever treaty of 2012 or whatever. And it's kind of a protest song for this thing that should happen. Has it changed much? No. So that's kind of the bummer side of it. But on the other side, it's like, yeah, I agree with this. This is great. I'm glad there are other people that think this way. And your hope is that this will, younger generations will lead to these things happening. Yeah. Is how I see it.
I agree. And I think that I haven't listened to much of the other stuff that you're citing because I haven't listened to this. So obviously I haven't listened to Anti-Flag, etc. But the stuff, there's something about it where, like, personally, on a personal level, you listen to music that uplifts you or makes you feel good or bad or sad or happy or whatever. And at a certain point, stuff like this just makes you feel bad because, like you just said, I agree. This is awesome. We need to do something about this. I can't do anything about it. I know you guys can't. You're using your platform. You're trying. Love you for it. But at the end of the day, now, especially looking back on not this specifically, but just like, what did any of it do? And it's almost like a personal sort of like, well, I can listen to a song that's about feeling better when you're down, and I will feel better. But if I listen to a song that I need to take on the government, I can't do that.
I'm trying to think of other even subject matter like that where it's like, then there are bands that I know that will go on tour and they'll say, hey, at this show, we're going to have a booth where you can donate to the, like they tried to do something. Of course. But this on the large scale of things like who are these five guys to change something? Yeah. And they can spread awareness and that's maybe all you can do, or you're singing about something out of anger. Like they've got songs that are just about the government. Or like that's what I was saying with Anti-Flag. It's not maybe as intellectual as this a lot of the time, but it's like they're against the government. Right. We know that we know they're Democrats or whatever. But then it's like, okay, well then, but what? Right. To what end are we gonna keep complaining about this? We're all on the same side. And sometimes you do just want to hear something that you're mad about something.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a place
for that. There's a catharsis.
Yeah. And I don't even disagree. I want this more than I want not talking about anything. So, don't misunderstand me, please.
No, and I like this more than a lot of music. It's like, what is there to sing about other than relationships and stuff sometimes? It's
and that's good and fine.
And that's good on its own, but this is hitting something else. Yeah. And also it's just a great song. Well, the chorus is awesome.
Yeah. And I think their perspective is, as we've said a million times now, a more hopeful and humanist one that maybe you don't get if you just listen to it, but I mean, you do. I was getting that, and then I looked into it and saw, their thoughts on more things. But so that's interesting, and I think it feels less like sort of, well, we failed because we didn't, we haven't done our duty. There's less of that, I guess, with it. There's less like regret or guilt, like what I'm not doing enough because I agree that government totally sucks.
Wow. Is that what you're picking next week?
Yeah. But no, I love the song. The chorus is awesome.
And they're just the way they're saying stuff, just going back through, because this was one of the songs for me that made me understand what they were as a band and went, okay, I get it now. And this is, at the time I was I was listening to, I think, a lot of this sort of maybe politicized punk music where you feel like something important's happening. Right. And then it's like, is it? I don't know. There's a lot of stuff about like George Bush at that time.
Yeah, well,
and it's like,
it was a popular
yeah,
thing suddenly.
But it's like things like this where it's like, hopefully something about climate change would do something. Now we see things that are reversing these. Well, but like they make a case for it that's like, this is how I feel too.
Yeah,
you know, it's like we can't do nothing and think someone else will make it right.
Right.
I mean, I'm just pulling out little things here.
Well, and just in the broader conversation, I think about stuff like this, like it shaped you. That's the thing that we need to think about.
Right.
Like you were going to be a blonde-haired, blue-eyed, right-wing Republican.
Yes.
Until you heard this song.
Yeah.
So if we change now, imagine there's a million other of you.
Wow, that'd be cool.
No, it'd be bad.
Oh,
but they all had their mind opened to becoming an individual.
Yeah, I just meant more of one of those. Where did Thomas Middleditch go?
Oh,
like for one of those rooms.
Yeah,
that'd be cool to have a lot of me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's true. But no, truly, I think. And I got into a fight with someone on the internet about this, about
on the IMDb message boards
about American Idiot, because they were like, I don't know, it was a whole thing. But
yeah.
I was like, it changed everyone in our age group's opinion, or like made them think about things in a different way. Mm-hmm. And there's a million other bands doing stuff like that too. So the message here is not, I just want to make sure it's clear, the message here is not to not be saying anything because it doesn't matter. It does.
Well, yeah. Can I? So
Please.
Yes, when I said earlier, this band was a fundamental shift in my thoughts on religion, like, I don't know, religion, politics, earth science stuff, like literally whatever, you know, anything that encapsulates. Yeah. Was I already going to head that way? I think the reason you look for these types of bands or anything or books is because you're trying to find something that maybe I don't know, validates your thoughts, or like, I'm having these thoughts about something. Obviously, I can't be the only person thinking this. What I've been taught growing up does not resonate with me, and I don't know what to do with that. And so you find someone like this. At this point, there's these guys that are in a band that you like, and you can look and you go, well, these guys are, you know, you're looking up to people and you're saying there's a morality here, and they're putting it in a way that like makes sense. And it's like, I agree with this more than anything else I've been taught. So that does change it, because it gives you sort of that. Same with Green Day, even. And that's a band, like you said, people will kind of say, well, American Idiot, it's like they sold out, which I don't agree with. I think I was even listening to a thing with Fat Mike from NoFX where he's like, they didn't sell, like, selling out is when you change your ideas and what you sing about to make money. Right. He's like, they didn't do that. And I think a lot of people have gone back and said, they did that Broadway show. That's probably the coolest thing. Like, no one expected. Why would they do that? Yeah. That's not selling out. That's like, no one else is doing that. Mm. That is punk. If you want to go to that length of like, right, what does that mean? You know? Mm-hmm. And I think even what they're singing about on some of that stuff where it's like, oh, maybe like I can't play this in front of my parents. And it's like, what are they singing about? Why do I agree with, you know, what are they saying? And it's people you look up to. Right. And so you go more in that direction. Maybe. I think there's a part in you where you're already going to find something, mm-hmm, or you're looking for something, and it helps like validate those things. Yeah. But in a way that gives you confidence, like I'm saying with this band, where it gives you the confidence to feel that way and have something backing it up, mm-hmm, in a way that you can't articulate yourself yet. Right. You're not alone. That's pretty much it. I could have just said that. I talked about Broadway. Yeah. So stupid. And I just like when they harmonize. Yeah. On Broadway? Oh, yeah. No, on Broadway. Do the Rent thing again. Just a little more. Sure.
Exactly like the double edge of a cold familiar knife. And supremacy weighs heavy on the day. It's
Never really what you own, but what you threw away.
And how much did you pay?
Interesting.
Don't allow this mythological monster
Cool.
to exact
Yeah.
its price.
That's good.
And that's also where he's thrown something in. This mythologic hopeful monster. I've also seen it written down as mythological hopeful monster. And I'm like, that's not what he's saying. He can't fit that in there.
No.
This mythologic hopeful monster. Just these little phrases where I'm like, how'd you get that in there?
Kyoto.
Oh, Kyoto Now.
Is he squeezing that in? I guess I've never.
Kyoto Now.
A little bit. He's
Kyoto Now.
he's trying to. I see you.
Yeah.
I see what you're up to. No, this is Materialist. I was like, okay, I like this. I'm getting back into it after the first couple tracks, and then this song came on, and I said, "By Jove, sorry, Joe, but
Bon Jove.
Bon Jove,
E.
You've done it. I like this. This is a great song." And
Then we go into, oh, this is where things change.
this is when I said, okay, so we can do something different. Go ahead.
Sorrow. This weird time signature thing at the beginning. And this guy's just whacking.
Here's one thing I will say, and it happens in Kyoto Now too.
Father, can you hear me?
Yeah. Here, let me.
Just pause it.
Okay.
They start a song one way. Like Kyoto Now starts with like a slower.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know if it's. We don't need to go back, but it's like almost like a different.
We can. No, we can't.
It's a different.
Tempo?
Not time signature, but a time like beats per minute. It's a slower little opening, and then it goes into ding dang ding dang ding dang ding ding. And you're like, okay, yeah, I like it. I'm not saying it's bad. Okay. I'm just saying. And then you get this, and it starts completely different. And then eventually we do get to ding dang ding dang ding dang ding 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 ding.
But there's.
It's cool. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just
Okay.
saying like it always. These guys, they can't help it. It's in their blood.
This is why if you are interested to listen to the other stuff, and I'm not saying it's all completely different.
No.
I'm just saying it's all basically this, but
But
they have their little.
they start a couple songs with a
Maybe
ska beat.
Do I pull one up? No, we don't have time.
Just go ahead. So they start one with a ska beat. Go ahead.
So they do. Yeah, there was on one of the albums. There's a ska beat.
Down. I curse the day that I was born.
This was another one though where I was like, I get.
And all the sorrow.
I like this. I didn't know I was looking for this.
Let me take you to the hurting ground.
But there's also there's this beat under, but he has
He's
slowed
still
down
doing-
considerably.
Yes.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
And his voice, it's like this is not something you hear other bands doing. Unless they're copying them.
Bong, 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 bong,
Kinda country.
bong. Yeah, it still does sound different from. We'll get to the chorus.
Okay.
It still does sound different
Yeah.
from everything else that's preceded it. What's going on there?
That's not me. Oh wait, what is that?
See? I think it only happens in the first chorus.
Do you think he burped?
No,
It sounded
'cause
like a bomb went off.
Yeah, 3 times.
Hold on. Everyone listen to this closely. We're gonna get to the bottom of this.
You've never heard that?
No. I think I have, but not put it together as like.
It's kind of crazy.
Then he says all soldiers lay their weapons down. Maybe they were fighting.
Those were the bombs of
And
the
he's
soldiers.
like, hey,
Hey,
Guys,
guys.
stop. Let's have some custard.
This is a great song.
I believe.
And obviously, is it their most?
This was the single
Yeah,
from this album, which, from what I've seen, maybe you saw this too, this came out right after 9/11, as Bill Maher would say. And I think there was some co-opting of the song.
Oh, I'm sure.
To fit the narrative, which they've said, I think Brett said, when I found out that had happened, like I was in the middle of mixing this song. Like it has nothing to do with it, but there was some sort of... And the song is about Job.
Yeah, that's what I read.
From the Bible. And I read that passage of the Bible again. And it pretty much is exactly that story. Mm-hmm. And it's about the devil testing Job. And he was like, hey, can I test this guy? And God said, yeah. So he kills all his kids. Right. He kills his sheep, which is just a crazy story. Yeah. When you go, this is in here. And people believe this. But he kills like his... And then God's like, okay, well, you can do some more stuff to him to test him. I'm like, why is this happening? But this story's about then, I think, speaks to a larger idea of these simple things. Because they're not speaking even against it. He's like telling the story of it pretty much. And just like, we don't have to be this way or something. Not in any specific way.
Yeah, no, I mean, it does feel... It feels not...
It feels good.
The first time I heard it, I was like... And I have heard this song. Okay. This is one that I've heard. Yeah, but I just didn't put it together that it was these guys. So...
Because it doesn't sound like what you thought.
Right. And the point... And the first time I heard it, I was like, are they being sarcastic?
I thought the first... I don't know, however long I listened to it, I thought it was about God and Jesus. He says a prideful father and his son. Yeah. I didn't know it was literally about God and the devil.
Well,
you knew that.
No, and I still don't.
The prideful father and his son, which is the devil.
Right.
Because he's telling him, no, he'll still believe in me no matter what you do. Mm-hmm. And so he goes, okay, I'll kill all his kids. And then God was like, well, you did believe me. So he gives him some more kids as like a good job.
Good Job.
Which is crazy. Good Job, he said. Job.
But then, because even at the end, it's like when the true Messiah comes back.
The only true Messiah rescues us from ourselves.
Yes. And I was like, is this whole song just making fun of this? And I still am not.
When all soldiers lay their weapons down, or when all kings and all queens relinquish their crowns, or when the only true Messiah rescues us from ourselves, it's easy to imagine there will be sorrow no more. I don't think it's making fun of, and I've seen him do it a couple. He's played it in a way that it's giving Millport. Mm-hmm.
I watched it more acoustic
folk. I think on MTV.
Yeah,
I was like,
I watched that.
I like when we used to have this stuff. On TV.
Yeah,
and the audience is so confused. Yeah, because like Greg from Bad Religion's here, and he's like, "Let me take you to the hurting ground.
There will be sorrow no more."
I think it is a little.
Is it a little tongue in cheek, or is it?
I think he's saying like. To me, and this could be wrong, the way I always read it was essentially this story. I'm sweating even just saying this. The way the Bible is, there are simple things that could be done morally that do not make sense. That if they were changed, we wouldn't have. Like, why do we have to deal with all this stuff? If any of these ideas are real, like. If like all soldiers, but like if like we could just not have, why have war if there's a God? Mm-hmm. Why do we have kings and queens that are ruling over us that are causing harm to people? Mm-hmm. And there's whatever the caste system, since they're all apparently 100 years old, worried about kings and queens, right? And then, or when the only true Messiah rescues us from ourselves, which is just that idea of Jesus coming down to save us literally from our sins that he gave to us. Mm-hmm. Just this circular notion that just when you think about it, what? You know? And it's like, then there would be no, like, if that were true, we wouldn't have these things. Or maybe if we stop thinking that's real, it would make the world better.
Yeah.
That's how I view it. Then when I found out it was about Job from Arrested Development.
Yes.
And it's kind of just a telling of that story.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, it's kind of just, he's telling this story.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he's, I think he's read the Bible probably more than, I read some book that was called like 12 Questions for Christians. And there was, one of them was like about the Bible. And they gave a statistic that was like 30% of all Christians have read the Bible. It was something crazy that's like the thing that billions of people base their faith on, they haven't read.
Yeah. Well, it's so long.
But then you
can't even read more than 60 pages.
You've read Doomakey twice.
No, just once.
But then it's like someone like him, or I don't know, David Cross, or some, someone will be like, yeah, I've read it like 4 times.
Yeah, because it's interesting.
Yeah. And so I think it's an interesting story. There's interesting stories in there. And then he's looking at it from a certain perspective. And
well, it's an artifact, isn't it? It's more of they'll read it as an intellectual reading and wondering, questioning why. Mm-hmm. What's the longevity? The way that we're questioning now, what's the longevity of a band? What's the longevity of a genre of music? Mm-hmm. They look at what's the foundation, the longevity of an entire belief system based on stuff that is crazy.
That is crazy. Why do we believe that? Why does everyone love Thomas Jefferson? You know what I mean? 300 years ago, this guy said, "Let soldiers come into your house," and now we all have to do it.
Yeah,
and everyone's like, "Founding fathers said so." So what? They all like had diarrhea like you. Yeah, they're just guys.
They're just guys like you having massive loads of diarrhea every day.
If you showed them a car, their head would explode. That's what's so stupid about you.
Okay, so I took the song similarly. I was like, I kind of got the same message. But then I read that he and the rest of the band have kind of been asked about what the true Messiah is. And I believe his answer was,
I don't know.
Huh?
Oh, he's like,
his answer was us,
as in the
people,
the royal we,
as in Bad Religion, the band. Yeah, it's like, now that we're here, there will be sorrow no more. Ding 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 ding. No, humanity.
Yeah.
The true Messiah will be a united humanity against the authority of oppression.
Okay.
So then it made me think, okay, well, it's not really tongue-in-cheek. This is maybe as earnest as he's ever been. Mm-hmm. There will be no sorrow when all the kings and queens throw their hopeful. I mean, it's definitely a hopeful.
Yeah, that's why I never took it as necessarily tongue-in-cheek. I just thought he was speaking sort of critically about, think about what we're all being taught.
Yeah.
If, we're all suffering through whatever.
Yeah.
Many different things. But that's what, it's like just this little folk. It's just, that's such a simple, and we're still talking about it. Trying to figure out what exactly are you saying?
Great song.
Great chorus.
We have to move on.
People like this.
Are you done? Do you have any more to say?
I do. Hold on. About Epiphany.
Yes.
Landon's like, oh yes.
I am.
Yeah. Sounds like a System of a Down song.
I'm just gonna make fun of the guy the rest of the time. Not even halfway through the album. My brothers.
Here we go. Count me in. Here we go. Come on. Yes. Everybody.
Oh, you think I'm done? No. Back
Okay.
home.
All right. So
You had me with Kyoto Now. You took me in and you said, this is good for sorrow. That was a call?
Yeah.
And then you give me Epiphany. I say to you, you don't need to even have the rest of the album. You can end it here. In fact, I wish you would. No, there's a few more that I like a lot. But this is a great stretch of the album, in my opinion.
yeah,
Going into even the next couple. But yeah, I like this one a lot. Great. And again, it's sort of, we're still kind of dealing with questioning why we arrive at the things we believe in, that sort of thing. But again, it is it's a self reflective thing as well.
what's right is wrong, what's come is gone, what's clear and pure is not so sure. All promises become a lie, all that's benign corrupts in time. The fallacy of epiphany. Think about that.
I have.
If it's real for me, do I have to prove it to you? Why do revelations fade to cold blue untruths? I don't know.
It's also relative.
Subservient and total to one's perspective. Yeah.
Yeah.
What can I say about this? It's a good song.
It's a good song. And does it rank high for you?
It depends on when I'm listening to it.
Sure. For me, it might be my favorite on the album.
I'm glad I picked this album as opposed to No Control, which I was gonna pick, just because that one it's like banger, 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 banger. It's just, but there's more of these slower, kind of more intricate songs on this album. So I'm happy for you.
Oh, good.
Because there's some, I think we'd run into that problem.
Yeah,
if
no,
they kind
cool.
of all sound the same if we pick the other album.
Oh.
But I'm glad for you on this one that there's some songs that you can kind of pick out and like.
I just like, it's a huge chorus, and then it goes even huger. Can you do that? Is that even legal?
I hate to keep saying this, but you just don't get the guys harmonizing with you with these other bands, because I feel like bands are too afraid to be like, oh, that sounds too pretty almost. I love it. It's like, oh.
Yeah, it sounds like a choir. It sounds like an angelic chorus telling you that you're an idiot.
Well, great. This is up there for me.
It's up there for me. It's up there with.
I've got like Kyoto Now is definitely probably number one for me. Definitely, probably.
Yeah.
These three in a row.
That should be a movie.
Sorrow's great. This one, I don't think so. Do you have anything else you want to say about this?
No, just
It's
that
good, right?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
probably number 1 or 2 for me.
Okay, that's good to know.
If I had to.
Yeah, that's a good spot for it to be 1 or 2. Evangeline. Depends on how he says it, right?
Yep, let's find out. They're back on stage.
Chick came from heaven, well, there's no point belaboring that.
Okay.
I've seen some drama around,
I didn't say anything.
rejection with magnetic good intentions, and yet, hey Jack, get back. In fact, don't
My name's not Jack.
Back. Don't do that.
but feel uncertain, 'cause next time it could be curtains. Evangeline, conspiracy is so fine, let me a thing 'cause mine is broken. Compared to mine, what is your crime, Evangeline? Not just to be certain,
All right.
let's
Cool.
Yep.
Another song where you go, what is this about?
Yeah, because it's
Some
is
sort
it a
of
lady? Is it
religious
a
something or
religious
other?
something or other? Is it both? I don't know.
I've looked into it a couple times.
Well, what do you have to say?
I like this song.
Oh,
I don't know what it's about.
okay.
So I looked up, someone's like, Evangeline literally means God's little angel. And then I looked it up everywhere else, and it was like, that wasn't true.
Yeah, I think
It was like, no, it means like truth or whatever. It's,
yeah.
it's a biblical thing.
Lend me your faith because mine is broken. Compared to mine, what is your crime?
It's someone that's, I don't know, perfect.
Right. I just like it. I like the chorus. I like when he says, compared to mine.
Yeah, compared to mine.
I like that. And see, that I don't mind. He's not squeezing it in where it don't belong. It's just, it fits.
Compared to mine. I do like when he adds little things, like, well, there's no, she came from heaven, well, there's no point belaboring that.
Yeah.
And there's also the, hey, Jack, get back. In fact, don't do that. It's like talking to your kid.
Yeah.
He's like banging on the vending machine.
It does feel like a Bob Odenkirk. And now just thinking of him, he kind of looks like Bob Odenkirk.
He kind of sounds like him.
Yeah. Hey, Jack, get back. In fact, don't do that. Nah, I mean, yeah. Is he running out of words to rhyme with other stuff? Maybe.
They had 17 albums.
Well, yeah.
Literally hundreds and hundreds of songs.
So he's like, yeah, she came from heaven. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. It's like, okay. It's like this whole album is about you talking about heaven not existing.
And the first line,
you're the one.
Heaven's real. We're not going to get into it. I have nothing else to say about this.
No,
one.
it's just a good one.
It's good. This is the defense.
Boing, boing, boing. We got 4 or 5 incredible tracks right in a row.
Mm-hmm. Now we're hitting the last 4. This is the final act of the album.
We'll see how it holds up. Play it.
Some could
play it.
The defense. Oh, it's backwards.
Yeah, this was a big. Are you turning it up?
For some reason, I'll say this: the way it's on Apple Music is so weird. Where the song is super loud and quiet. Like the version I have is cool, but I can't access the lyrics from there. So I must play you the version that blows your eardrums.
Please.
Here we go. The defense.
Everyone was doing the reverse thing there for a while, huh?
Yeah, 20 years ago.
Yeah, I'd like to watch 1,000 cable channels, but there's nothing on high-speed connections monitored daily by the Pentagon.
I like it.
I
It
like
works.
this part.
I'm not inclined to enjoy my dream. Go away.
Oh, this is one of my favorite lyrics that ultimately makes me laugh. Let's get to it. Then I'll pause.
Right.
It's funny. I just feel like the line of whatever, no God, ain't it beautiful to be alive? You already know he's being ironic.
Yeah.
And then for them to go, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we know what he meant. Because they're like, that's the one time they go off from just repeating or echoing what he's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that did make me.
It's funny because he could just say that. It's more like it's just more biting if he just says,
Yeah.
Well,
I
it's
don't.
beautiful to be alive.
Yeah. We know what you're saying.
I know what you're doing.
You don't need to tell me the joke. Yeah.
That's why it's funny. Yeah, right.
This is fine. This one doesn't do as much for me. I hate to say.
Do you feel? I feel like once I get here, actually, there's some stuff I like with these last 4, but there are parts where I'm like, okay, this is, the album's a lot of songs.
It is a lot of songs. We probably could have cut a
And
couple.
Once we get past whatever the last song was, Evangeline. I mean, there's a good end song, but there's a few things that are like, these could be B-sides. I think I'd still like to hear them, but
I have no problem hearing it. As I always say, why not have more?
But here's what I've said also, not to you, but to myself. They got so many out. This is their 12th album, even without the ones after this. And I'm like, if I'm listening to this album and I listen to what I want to, I can cherry pick, baby.
Sure.
There's endless music from this band I could go listen to.
Of course.
I'll listen to something from 81. Boom, I jump to 2017. Boom, I jump to
some other time.
We done with this one?
Yep.
Okay. The next song is called The Lie. So we had the defense. Now this is The Lie. So this is maybe scary.
Old Bert's letting it rip, huh? I call him Bert as a sign of disrespect.
What breaks the silence misery can make you see where you belong. It's a dangerous stage, but the show must go on. Why do you lie? Why do you lie? Would you betray your soul? Why do you lie? Why do you lie? Don't let your weakness show. You just might be the last to know.
Cool.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll say about these songs.
Go ahead.
For me, none of these songs, they rarely break the 2-minute mark.
Yeah.
So as we're going through and talking about this album for 2 hours,
Insane.
the thing is,
I've got a few more things to say about Belly Button. That
this album can be as long. These episodes, this album. Oh my gosh, I sound like an idiot.
I need to go back and say some more stuff. But
We can't. This album's less than 40 minutes long.
yeah.
So you go, okay, well, there's 14 songs, but I've listened to it so many times over the past week, and I've already listened to it a bunch.
Yeah.
And it just is over. By the time I'm like half, I'm like, my chub is, half. So I'm like, I got to listen to another album to get a
What?
full Woody. What?
This song is fine. I don't know. This
Yeah.
is kind of the same territory of like, yeah.
The defense and the lie kind of sit with me somewhere where it's like, okay.
Yeah. You could probably throw them out and I'd be fine. But I like them too. It's not bad. It's just whatever. Go ahead.
Frankly, you don't belong.
Hey, here we go.
Hey,
Yeah?
you.
Oh, yeah.
Is there something worth aspiring to?
I don't know.
And can it be found in a record store?
Can what?
Well, it's not there anymore.
Oh, okay.
Just think of all the things we did.
Us?
Different. Just like all the other kids.
What are you talking about?
Missy was a teen blue video star.
You don't know what that is?
Tom took his life in his mother's car.
I don't know, Tom. I'm sorry.
Check this out.
Maya went to college, but you knew about that.
Yes, I did.
Played a record.
Jimmy started riots. Laura was always quiet.
She was battling depression.
Uh-huh.
I don't know these people.
I mean, all these people.
What's
are
a teen blue video star?
a teen blue video star? I think he's running out of stuff.
Is that porn?
Oh,
I'm just wondering.
I don't know.
I'm looking at your computer. Milo went to college, but you knew about that.
Yeah,
And we're like, yeah, we did.
we did. There's an album about it.
So these are their friends.
Yeah, that's
we were
kinda
different,
fun.
just like all the other kids.
Yeah.
That's nice.
That's fun.
I like this one
Mhm.
because I forget with those two before it. I'm like, oh, there's more because that's where for me, like you were saying, because I have a little bit more of a. My palate is just a little more refined than yours, so I can tell things apart a little more.
Mm-hmm.
But those are where it starts to get muddled as like that's the sound, and I don't really pick out a clear chorus or point of view.
Yeah.
But then you get to this, and it's just a little. I don't know what do you call this? A song?
I think music or.
Hey,
No.
you is there something worth belonging to? And can I pick it up for a song or a diploma?
What's fun about this is that it's completely different thematically. The music is of a piece with everything else, but thematically we're having a little fun. We're talking about stuff that isn't so heavy for once in the goddamn album.
Yeah. Well, Jack wore a skirt, but he knew how to scrap.
Yes. And can't we just enjoy that image for a while?
Think about that. Imagine Jack in your mind.
Okay.
Imagine Jack in your mind. Think about that.
And now a blue video star.
And now think about Billy went to county on a class 1 possession.
Boom, 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 boom. I like this song, and this one's fun.
It's just about your friends.
Yeah.
Okay? And there's no judgment. They're just all kids.
That's what. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. It's just a fun song.
Mm-hmm. I will carry them along like a song when I'm gone.
Yeah.
That's nice.
That is nice.
What else can I say? But I dedicate this song, Yeah, You. I don't know why it says that. Is that good for you?
Yeah, I mean,
I like the song.
I like the song. It's not,
It's what's in the song. Listen to it.
yeah. There's not much to dissect.
What do you want from
there.
us? This song's called Bored and Extremely Dangerous.
Uh-oh.
Which reminds me maybe of a couple other songs we've talked about on this podcast about people just with nothing better to do.
With nothing better to do.
Boom, boom, boom.
No one to come home to. I won't fully conclude to take it out on you. I'm bored to the extreme. This world of foolish dreams, disillusion. I'm not who I seem to be. Yeah, sure, I might do harm.
So this goes on for what, a minute? And then so you've got about a minute 15.
Yeah.
Short little song. And then it gets kind of scary.
You're like, dang, I think the album's over.
Yeah.
Just some weird sounds coming out of my speaker.
Well, I guess this is going to fade out and be nothing. Oh,
Wait a minute.
my record scripting? Oh,
Is them the aliens?
am I Douglas Adams? Don't panic. Oh,
Wait a minute.
Mr. Floyd?
Is that a little Greg in my right ear?
I gotta get the full. Whoa! And then it goes back to this and. Dee, dee, dee. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the album.
I would have picked a different song to close on. That's
What do you think about that little part in the middle?
well, it's sort of
It's like the weird Pink Floyd thing. Like that's what don't they have a song like that?
Yeah.
Time or something where it's just alarm clocks going off?
I think well, because it's like basically about school shooters. Is what I got from it.
You
kinda.
did?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's gonna bare his right to arm.
Yeah, and he's just whatever.
Can you
I'm
stop
bored
doing
and
that?
extremely dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
So then you get these sort of.
Oh yeah, this was the other part I wanted to play for you.
Oh. No, I heard this part.
Okay, here we go. That's the Bo Burnham part.
Oh, yeah.
Where he's just naming.
An open window.
I look for inner wealth by punishing myself. I'm bored to the extreme. This world of foolish dreams. Yeah, guy's crazy.
It just, it kind of seems like that type of thing. And then you have the sort of cognitive dissonance personified, emblemified, with a little break from the song, and you just hear this sort of sounds of. I mean, it sounds like the feedback you get from a TV or something, and some different stuff, and then the phone rings. You're back to reality.
This came out they probably wrote this about 2 years after Columbine.
Yeah.
So
You're gonna be talking about Columbine at this point.
You're gonna be. Or they just watch Bowling for Columbine.
Yeah, that's probably it.
A book on Michael Moore. So that's the album.
Cheetos on the floor. They like to eat Cheetos.
Ah, Chester Cheetah. Chester Cheetah.
It's fine. It's just some of those huge, like Epiphany, this huge chorus is just, to me,
You want to end on Epiphany?
I want to end on something huge, which is something I think more, and we talked about it last week with Jellyfish. I think they picked a weak closer with Calling Sarah. I think you want to end on something epic. You just should.
Yeah. I'm playing this quiet, but let's hear how this ends. This could be the end of the album.
Because it just fades out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think thematically, with the rest of the album, it makes more sense. Because this one, it's kind of, like I said, is maybe a bored and lonely shooter, dangerous person. That's not really what the whole rest of the album was about. And something like Epiphany was, sort of is symbolic of the whole endeavor. It's just something, you can sit.
Hey, resequencing's a real thing.
You can sit here and resequence
we
all
don't
you
know.
want.
We don't know why they picked why they picked. Do you know why they picked?
No. I don't. But I would like to know. Maybe I'll look into it.
You can ask them.
I like this album. I like them. Seem like cool, nice guys too. And you just want to sit down and talk to them.
They all seem very. That's what I like about all these bands, and they still put on some of the best shows.
Yeah,
I've ever seen live.
I watched some live content, and it was good.
It's just interesting.
It was good. I do like when a band is still the same lineup, or at least most, because that does, when you're like, the drummers changes every time, you're like, but I like this drummer.
Yeah.
I like what he brings.
And then at some point you go, well, then what is a drummer to this band?
Right.
If just a
nothing.
studio drummer.
Yeah.
Like why them and not someone else at that point? For the most part, other than their new drummer, they've all been sort of the same guys. That's kind of what's cool about Descendants, or I went and saw The Damned on their 40th anniversary tour. It's like, these are all the same guys and that's just crazy to me also. You meet someone in high school and like you literally live with them on the road, the most annoying way to know someone. Like for 40 years and you haven't killed them. And they've had a few people come and go in the band. Sure. But when you've had the same guitar player for 30 years, they're basically the same guy. Right. Or whatever. The two of them, Greg and, I don't know, Brett's in the studio, but I think he still plays some of the LA stuff, like what do they call that? The acoustic weenie roast, whatever the KROQ.
Yeah, the weenie roast.
Weenie roast. He'll play the weenie roast.
Play the weenie roast for him,
yeah, you can look that up. But that's why it's interesting to me, because you are also seeing history to a certain extent. It's the same guys. It's not the band where only the lead singer is the same.
Yes.
And then he's got a bunch of 20-year-old hunks.
Yeah, or like Queen, but it's Adam Lambert.
Right. Or the front man's gone.
Yeah,
so it's like
this
is a cover band.
Doesn't feel the same. Yeah.
So
I like it.
That's them. They've got 16 other albums.
I'm going to be checking.
All interesting in their own way.
I'm going to be checking them out. Half of this album is incredible. The other half is just good. To me.
That's a good ratio.
It's a great ratio.
Unlike another ratio that we've since learned is maybe not so good. But Jimmy's fine. Jimmy Fallon didn't do anything wrong.
No, he just knew about it.
He knew about it.
What do you rate it?
I'd probably give it a 9. If I'm ranking it just in terms of what I like. And then I did go back and listen to several of their other albums, because sometimes I'll listen to songs and cherry pick, but it's like, what was the I've never given this album my attention because there's just so much of their music. And it's definitely in the top 3 albums for me of theirs. Maybe.
Oh.
And just in general, a 9.
Okay.
Because I always want room for improvement.
That's the thing.
You don't want to tell someone they're a 10,
No.
and then what? They just go, okay.
Right. I go 7.5.
Wow, pretty high. I wonder what stuff
But
you'll
then you
like
think
from
about
them.
7.5, and then you think about like grading. That's like a C. You're like, well, it's not a C.
Yeah, but also then you go, well, it's not an 8 because I
That's a
just heard
B.
this band and I don't know if it's gonna stick with me.
But it's still like what they're doing. They do it well. What they do it well. Better than most.
But you're gonna get to some good even if you just listen to kind of what are considered their hits, you'll have some fun. Like Los Angeles is Burning, all these songs that kind of came out in maybe the early aughts.
I'll stick with 7.5. I think Descendants I gave 7.5, but then I immediately upped it to an 8.
I meant to be writing our scores down.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to listen again when we put these out.
And I think I stand by. I think I would sooner put on the Descendants album than I would this.
Okay, that makes sense to me. For you, right? They're 2 distinct sounds for me. They both kind of fit in the same world, but this is something that is intellectually stimulating to me. Whereas the Descendants, I'm like, this is fun. I like these guys.
Maybe there's just less like work.
Right.
That
when you listen to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I want that because that was my complaint with them.
Right. That's why I'm trying not to argue with you, but what you're saying makes no fucking sense.
No, I go 7.5. I just like the music better, maybe, I guess.
You should, you know what? Even 2013 True North, that's
yeah, that one looked like
there's a lot of stuff on there that's interesting.
That looked like an album cover I'd want to look at.
Yeah. Because of the nipples.
Wait, what? Oh, yeah. No, I'll definitely be checking them out. Another good pick, old boy.
Thank you.
And I can certainly see why you've spent these many long years hiding them from me and not wanting to talk about it.
Yep.
No, I'm kidding, of course. But, yeah, no, I get it. Like you said with Jellyfish, I get
why I like them.
Yep.
Well, that's why it's hard to say, is it them that have informed me or me that has informed my musical taste, right? Probably both.
Yes.
I love this band. That's why I'm happy. When this show's for you, dear listener, dear and constant listener, and we do want you to, when we put these on the TikTok or the Instagram feed, give us your thoughts. Maybe tell us something that you think we'll like based on this. Because even listening to this stuff, it got me back into a bunch of their stuff I haven't listened to for a while or thought about, or other bands that sound like them that I'm like, this is what I like. Because you start to listen to it so much that it's just like, I listen to this because I like it,
right?
But it doesn't give you the same feeling as when you thought about it at first,
right?
And when you go back and do that intentionally, try that at home with the bands that you like, the Wiggles, Fruit Salad, Yummy Yummy, etc. So with Bad Religion off our plate for now, what are you going to pick, and maybe just briefly why? He's texting someone. He's not even listening.
Father, can you hear me?
Oh, my God.
Have I let you down? I curse the day that I was born.
I can't figure this band out.
And on the sorrow in this world.
Is this who we're doing?
You picked the perfect band to set up one that we simply must talk about.
And I already have an idea for the next one because of this. This show's great. This is going great.
This is
We
fun.
should have done this 10 years ago.
Bad Religion is one of John Foreman's favorite bands. John Foreman, the singer,
Crazy.
songwriter, and lead singer and lead songwriter for Switchfoot, a Christian rock band that we've both enjoyed over the years. And he, has covered Sorrow quite a few times. I believe Greg even was in their Fading West documentary because they interviewed like Tom DeLonge and a bunch of different band people, and Greg was one of them. And
I got to rewatch that. I don't remember.
yeah, I was trying to find it streaming anywhere, and it's impossible to find.
Do you own it?
Yeah.
I think I own it somewhere.
I do,
Okay.
but I didn't watch it in preparation for this, but
Why would you?
because but yes, they're a very meaningful band to me and you.
Yeah.
And it'll be an interesting conversation,
Which is interesting coming off this band.
yeah. Well, and that's what I love about John and Switchfoot. I think
I already have a story about that too with them that's interesting, I think.
they are emblematic of the type of Christian that you would want to see in the world.
Yeah, this will be good because I was scared to dive into religion on this episode as much as I meant to. And it'll be good to dive into it more next week.
So, So I think, and what else was maybe we can, we'll say it now, I guess. He like cites Greg as a big influence as far as songwriting and stuff. So I just think that's interesting. And he has been asked about that, and he has said, like, I know that we don't agree spiritually, but basically alluding to the fact that like we both want the same things. So it's just an interesting conversation.
That's all you want. That's what frustrates me about.
Yeah. So it's just an interesting conversation that he loves. That's why I still will always admire John. He wants the conversation. He wants the back and forth.
I guess I'll say, before you tell us which album, if you listen to this because you saw that we were reviewing Bad Religion, a band you like, and you've got this far in the episode, listen to this one because this will be an interesting parallel. Even if you've never listened to the band because it's a Christian rock band, as a lot of people view them.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think this will be a nice...
and there's some baggage with that they talk about a lot also.
I think a lot of bands, we'll get into it on the next
get
episode. We have to go.
I think I was going to just pick Beautiful Letdown since they just re-released it and re-recorded it. It's not my favorite of their albums, but it's probably the most important, I guess, of theirs.
For them? Or
for
just
them.
in general? Well, maybe for us, too.
Maybe for us. And just for the fact that we can talk about the re-release.
Yeah.
But also, they're better albums. So
this is your pick. I'm not gonna sway you one way or the other.
But
I have one that for me, I'll bring it up if we don't do it. But for me, there's one that I felt like it was important.
Okay, we're doing the Beautiful Letdown. We'll do the re-record, the re-release.
Really?
Yeah, just
okay
for the sake of it. Listen to both. We can talk about the differences.
Yeah. Let's listen to both, so we'll talk about the album, then we can get into some of the differences.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen to whichever one you prefer the most.
Okay. I'll just listen to both of them. You out there, listen to both of them.
Sure. If you're still with us. Next week, we'll be listening to Switchfoot, The Beautiful Letdown.
Surprise. And to you, I say, bye.
Each week we listen to an album, here's our mind. Just know it's gonna take about 3 hours of your time to hear us complain or praise each other's taste.